What's going on, guys? It's your boy Lee John, and got some good news for you Dragon mains out there, or it could be some bad news depending on how you look at it. If you're a sour grape, or is it sour apples, whatever. You get my point. So a little over a week ago, we got some information on what Riot's future plans for Aurelion are. Riot Axis, who probably plays a lot of Draven by that name, basically says we are considering some changes, but it won't be a complete overhaul of his abilities. We want to make him more accessible and satisfying, but keep the learning curve he currently has. To do this, we might change one or two of his abilities, or do something so that his hard counters aren't abused so much. Of course, I paraphrased that. He specifically said one or two abilities, so I think we can all guess it's his E and his ultimate. There's really no hiding it. His E does not really feel impactful when you use it. It's strictly a utility tool. Also, you only use this in combat when you're traveling in a straight line chasing someone. So it can really feel like an underwhelming part of your kit sometimes. And his ultimate, although useful, does not feel like it meshes with the theme of his kit at all. Seems a little uncharacteristic and does not really help the fact that you want to use Aurelion to use a unique, innovative kit, use a giant floating dragon. And then his ultimate is just a straightforward beam. Like, it feels like a prototype of Vel'Koz's ultimate. It just doesn't feel as impactful or satisfying that you would want an ultimate ability to feel like. Now, Aurelion's problem right now is that he has a hard time dealing with hard engages that go within this orbit of his. He really doesn't have an answer for any of it, and he really falls off hard whenever he's behind early. Like, it feels like you're in a goddamn famine. A lot of people say we should be able to reactivate his Q again, give him some extra self-peel. I pray to God Riot doesn't do this, because when you think about it, if he builds a Zonia and a Rylai's, it's going to be almost impossible to touch the guy. I mean, a hard CC ultimate, a Zonia, and a constant AoE slow, and a stun he can land when you jump on him. I think he'll have way too many tools. He'll be way too good, and I think he'll end up getting gutted like Azir. He already has a lot of utility, damage, great team fight, great roaming potential, and he does all of this by just swag walking with his stars. If his Q can be instantly casted, the cooldown would have to be reduced, and I think people would still end up bitching and moaning about it, and it'll get gutted. He needs his Q to work exactly how it does now. His R, his ultimate, although lacking in design, is completely necessary. If you play Aurelion, whenever someone jumps on you, you basically break your finger in your keyboard on that R button, and whenever someone is just out of range of your stars that you need a last hit, you're gonna send a solar beam straight up their ass. Gameplay wise, it really completes his kit. His E, although can feel underwhelming, really has a large impact on the game and gives him a unique feel, being able to fly over the map like a dragon. So although it might not feel that impactful when you first hit that E button, the effect it has on the overall game is pretty impactful. Rehauling this ability and taking out this roaming potential that he has would be disastrous, since a lot of souls already rely on him getting some early presence with this ability, level 4, 5, and get a good roam, land a good stun, get some kills. Not to mention, he's not actually in a terrible spot right now. His win rate is decent at around 48-50%, and with people who played over 125 games with him, it goes up to around 54-55%. So he doesn't really need a huge buff, just something that gives a little room for outplay on his weakness, because literally if any champion exploits that weakness to any degree, it's pretty much GG, and it doesn't leave a good feeling afterwards. Obviously the win rate might be a little inflated because his play rate is pretty low, so we gotta keep that into consideration, but there's a reason why he's not seen in competitive play that frequently. I think there needs to be some small changes done to his W. It doesn't make sense that his W can't be recasted after a hard CC. Basically, hard CC already shits on him enough to begin with, and losing all the damage you have in a team fight for 4 seconds because you might have been hit by a Lux Ball or a Fiddle Crow seems a little outrageous. I mean, at that point, you're not just shitting on him, it's straight up diarrhea. And if that's not good enough, then maybe we can add some sort of combat utility for his E, because you literally don't use his E for combat. It's only for roaming, getting to lane, and chasing. I'm thinking there could be an ability where you use his E where he causes some sort of star explosion. I don't know, the size smaller than his passive orbit, so if enemies get directly on top of you, you can push them away a little bit. The cooldown for his E shouldn't be touched if this was put into place. So if you use his E for peel, you would have that large cooldown where you can't use it for roaming or for peel. So this would give the enemies a large window to start playing a little more aggressive on Sol, but they need to think twice when he has his E. So you can think of it similarly to Zed. When his shadows are on cooldown, that's when you want to be doing the most. When Sol's E is on cooldown, that's when you can start doing the most on him. So this will still keep a learning curve. Good souls will know when to use this E and when to save it. But I really want to start using Aurelion again, because who doesn't want to play as a big ass dragon? I mean, that's why Aurelion got all this hype when he was being designed. So I played a lot of, I kind of forced myself to learn Aurelion just because of the fact that he was dragon. And design wise, I was really digging his character. But after a while, it just kind of fell off for me. I don't know, maybe his gameplay wasn't as fun, but I wish there was something that made me play him a little more, but there's just not, and that's just the stat cold truth. Alright guys, I know I've been making a lot of Aurelion videos lately, but I don't know what's going on, man. Maybe it's just a phase in my life right now. But I wanted to give you guys a little heads up, because Riot Access did say that this update was planned for later this year, and there's 4 months left in this year, pretty much 3 at this point. So we can see an Aurelion update coming rather soon. But until then, it's been your boy Lee John, and I'm out. And yes, I'll be making more lore videos.
Nothing kindles wonder like the beauty of stars.